Hello and welcome to today's edition of Tutorial Tuesday. Today I'll be going over Google Sheets. If you've ever used Microsoft Excel or a spreadsheet editor before, this is what Google's answer to that is. It is cloud-based, so everything that you create or edit will be online and saved online as you are working on it. Just like the other Google Docs and Google Drive tools, this is free. To get started, you'll need to go to your browser of choice and go to drive.google.com and log in if needed. In the top left, you will see the New button. Click that and then choose Google Sheets. And what you see here is your spreadsheet. So let's go over a few of the tools that you see up here. In their main toolbar, it's kind of broken up into sections. Here you will see your basic controls such as undo, redo, print. Over you have the zoom feature for making the text as well as the cell size bigger. You have your number formatting options, your text options, as well as the cell formatting options. And then you get to some more advanced controls if needed. One thing to note is the one over here on the very end that says functions. That's something very important that we need to keep in mind later on. Just above that, we have the menu bar with your typical things that you normally see. And at the very top, you have the title. One of the first things you need to do is go ahead and rename it. And as you can see, it just says saving right after you make a change. And now that it's saved, it is ready to go online, synced in the cloud. No matter which device I go to that's connected to the internet, it will be the same. To go over some basic terminology, we'll start with the cell, which is every single one of these individual rectangles that you see. Once you click on it, you'll see that it is highlighted around the border to let you know that is the active cell. A column are denoted by the letters at the top that go up and down. You may select a letter at the top to highlight the entire column at once. On the left-hand side, you see your rows as denoted by a number. Again, you may click the number to highlight the entire row. A range is a specific selection of cells. You may actively choose multiple cells by either clicking inside of one, holding down Control while you click the others that you want, or you may click inside one, hold down Shift, and when you click underneath it, it will get everything underneath it, or to the side. A function is something that you can choose from the Functions button, or once you get started working on it, you may be able to just do it yourself by typing it in this text box. Just to show you an example, we will choose average. You can see how it starts off with the equals button. This is how all functions need to begin. After that, you type in what you want as well as an open parenthesis. You will fill in the cells that you want to work with and then close the parenthesis. We'll go over an example in just a minute. At the bottom, you'll notice that this is titled Sheet 1. You can rename this. We'll go over a small budget. And you can also click the plus button to add a sheet. And you can rename this as well. Each one of these tabs is the current sheet. All sheets combined is called your spreadsheet. One of the most popular things to do with a spreadsheet is it will do any sort of calculations for you. In this example, I'm going to have a budget of $100 and I'm going to make a budget for my trip to the grocery store. To start, in cell A1, I will type item, and in B1, I will put in the price. And in C, I will have my total amount of money. Let me put in a few examples to show you how this can be done. Now let's start with our first function. I'm going to pretend that I want a running total of everything that I've purchased so far. For this, we will use the sum function. You can click into a blank cell, it doesn't matter which one. And if you'll use your functions button from the toolbar, you can go down to Math and Sum, and you can see that it auto-populates the function for you. Remember that all functions must start with an equal sign. This will be the sum, and then it has an open bracket, and then you type in or click your cells, and then you close the bracket. And this will add everything from that cell or cell range. The easiest thing to do is to simply click on the one or ones that you want. If you need more than one, you can hold down Control and click the individual ones. Or you may simply click one, hold Shift, and select everything in between, and this will be your range. Hit Enter, and there's your total. Also keep in mind that as you click multiple cells, you can see in the bottom right corner, it does sum for you. Again, you may click on individual cells by holding down Control, or arrange by holding down Shift as you click on each of them. You can also click where it says Sum to change what this will be. Average, minimum, and maximum numbers, as well as the total count. Now let's say I want to keep my running total after I purchase items. In order to keep things looking neat, I need to add a row above row 2. The easiest way to do this is to right-click on that row, and you can either insert a blank row above or below it. I need to do above in this case. And for my total, I will put in 100. Start by clicking in the formula text box, put in your equal sign, and you can either type in C2, and you can see how it highlights that cell, or you can click it. Then we're going to hit the minus button on the keyboard, and then we're going to click the cell that we want to deduct from and hit Enter. The next item, we want to do something similar. where you want to start by hitting equals. And this will be the previous cell, which will be C3. And then we're going to subtract B4 and hit enter. From the last cell that we just edited, where my formula is the total in C3 minus the cost from B4, I can then take this formula, click and drag down the list, and it will auto-populate the same function accordingly. So the next one down will actually be this total minus this cost, gives me my new running total. To give you an example of changing the number format, I will select both the B and C columns by holding down Control or Shift, and you can simply choose from something in the list up here, or you can choose more from the drop-down list. Since these numbers are dealing with dollar values, I will click the $ to format as currency, and you can see how it changes to a dollar and cent value. You will notice that when you click the drop-down list, there is a check mark next to automatic. It tries to determine what numbers you're working with, but it's not always accurate, so be sure to click the specific one that you need. To show you a brief example on how to format some of the cells, I'll say that I want anything with a $ in front of it to be a little bit bigger and stand out from the rest. I will select B2, hold down Shift, and select C10 to select this range. I can then change the font size as well as make it bold. And now anything dealing with money stands out a little bit, makes it a little bit easier to see. Now let's go over an example of using a sheet based on text rather than numbers. Going to click on my Names tab, and in this sheet I will fill out some names, and then I want to sort them alphabetically. I'll start by typing in name in cell A1, and in B1 I will put in position. Let me put in a few examples. Now that I have my examples in, one thing I need to point out is as I'm typing in my position for these people, I can see that their names are cut off. If you click on that cell, you can see their full name is still in the text box up above, but just to the right of it, it's cut off. The easiest way to fix this is to put your cursor in between these two columns until you see the left and right pointing arrows together and double click. It will then automatically adjust to the position of the longest name. You can also manually do this by clicking and holding the left mouse button and dragging it left or right. Now let's say I want to sort these names alphabetically. I need to choose column A by selecting the A button itself, and click Data, then Sort Sheet by column A to Z. You'll notice that my name and position were mixed in with this, and I don't want that. So to go back, or anytime you make a mistake and you want to undo what you did, click the Undo or Control Z button. To keep the name in position still while everything else underneath it gets sorted, click on row 1, then click on View, Freeze, and this one row. You can see it then inserts a bar underneath it to denote that what's above it is now frozen. Now let me try to do the same thing again. Highlight everything in column A, data, sort sheet by column A to Z, and now you can see that it is sorted alphabetically by first name, obviously. If I hit undo, you can notice that the name and position are tied together. Haley is the manager, and when I sort, you can see that she has now moved down with the manager position beside it. When you are finished working on this, simply close out of the tab, and you will see that it is in your drive. As with any other document in your drive, you may right-click it and share so that other people you can view and edit this document with you. There are many more things to do with Google Sheets, and I will be going over some of those things in a later tutorial. Thanks for watching.